Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that has been tuning in to my videos. I do want to apologize for the simple fact that this video is late. Mm, 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 last week was really long and pretty draining for me, so I did watch the episode. Plus, I'm also planning on going out of town for the weekend, and so I've been trying to prep for that and all the events and everything that I have planned and just everything going on. So I do apologize again. I'm really sorry for the fact that this video is pretty much running into episode 5 almost. And we are pretty much almost midway through the week, so I am so sorry. I'm going to try to definitely be more consistent in my uploads. But with all of that out the way, let's get started on this review with The Shy Season 6, Episode 4. We are kind of cruising through this season for sure, but nonetheless, I'm still excited. I get excited for every episode. So yeah, let's get into this review. The Shy Season 6, Episode 4, ReUp. Okay, so we first start this episode with my favorite person. I love seeing her on screen, especially ever since Girlfriends, Jill Marie Jones, aka Bianca. Her and Duda are having a steamy shower session. Alright. And, they're just talking about 420. She's just trying to, encourage him to, embrace 420. It's more money, more business. He's just no, weed, it clouds my judgment. I don't like it, But he, sells it or has people sell it for him. And so, they are, like I said, having their steamy shower session, and Bianca's hold up, I think somebody's watching us. I see somebody, I hear something, and lo and behold, it's Rosalind. Where has Rosalind been? We will never know. I'm just kidding. Girl, where you been? So yes, it's Rosalind, and she basically looks at Duda and she says, "Hey Bianca," which is so hilarious. I'm Rosalind, no shame in her game. She knows everything that Duda is doing, and she puts nothing past him, pretty much. And so Duda, he's looking at her what? And of course, Rosalind knows everything. And so, Duda and her are talking, and she basically comes right out and says, Quentin Q was an informant. He's working with the FBI, and he's a federal, very much federal. And Duda is just hold up, I had my suspicions, but really? And so basically Rosalind is just look, that means more heat coming down on you, on us. You need to be careful. Come on, don't slip up. Now is not the time to be slipping up. And Duda looks a little shaken in his boots because he really does need to tighten up and reel it back. Alright, so next, of course, like I said, it is 420, and we have, everybody rolling up, smoking, just basically communicating with Tiff, hey, I need this. Do you have the, Dre's talking about wedding pre-rolls, Fatima's texting Tiff, everybody's texting Tiff, Darnell's texting Tiff, everybody. When I say everybody, I mean everybody is trying to get a little bit of something from Rob and Tiff. And it's just funny because Darnell is texting Tiff, and she's just naming some outlandish strands of weed, and Darnell's you don't got nothing basic, nothing, just give me the regular, we don't need all that. Just give me the regular. And so yeah, Bakari and Rob are also smoking, and they're texting Tiff as well. And Tiff basically asks Rob, should we give him, the strands from Cairo, which is the more organic weed? And Rob was no, we're giving Nuck Duda's weed, and he will be fine, and he will not know, and that's that. And so, they just call it that. And yeah, so Meanwhile, at Emmett's house, we have Victor, Rashad, and Emmett, and they are just having like a little bit of a bonding moment, locked in. And they're cooking up not some weed, some wings. Sorry, they're cooking up some wings and different sauces, and Rashad and Emmett are obviously smoking, and Victor, being Victor with his new position, he's just like, no, I don't want to smoke. I'm good. I need to stay level-headed. So yeah, and they're just discussing like just different things that they are all pretty much going through in life, and just trying to understand obviously where Victor is coming from, because he's a governor now, and he's in that spot, and so he has to basically deal with so much pressure. And they were just joking with him like, it must be super hard not to be smoking right now, and he's just like, yeah, what can I do? But meanwhile, he's also introducing the guys to this idea that he had far as group therapy just for the men. Same thing he was talking to Fatima about in the previous episode. And, he's just like, yeah, we should do like group therapy, just have something like for us to vent and like all come together, because it has been a while since everybody has hung out and just really let everything out. They kind of do see each other in passing, but it's not like their old sit downs where they used to play cards and have wings and food and just different things. And now there's more people to the gang, so, Victor's just like, yeah, let's do it. And the guys agree, so, yeah. Next, we have Rashad. So Rashad, as we see, is in a chop shop, Duda's chop shop, and he's working on a car, and in walks Zay, and he basically just throws him a big stack of money, and he's just like, here you go. And Rashad's like, hold up now, like, wait a minute, this is a lot. And so he's just like, yeah, Duda basically says, yeah, this is for your help, and there's more to this, there's more of that, wherever that comes from. So basically, Rashad is just like, this is just a one-time deal, and Duda, you don't say no to Duda, and even if you do a favor or whatever, it's not a one-time deal. You're locked in when you're locked in, and that's pretty much the moment you do the deal. That's it. There's no going back. There's no. He's gonna keep trying to get to you until he breaks you, pretty much. And so Rashad just walks off, thinking like everything's easy breezy beautiful, and he goes on about his way. Then we have Nuck. He basically calls Duda over, and there is a truck full of that fire in a duffel bag, and Duda basically snaps on Nuck. He loses it because he knows that, like I said earlier, Quentin's an informant, and this will be disastrous for him, if he gets caught with that. So basically, he tells him to get rid of it and get rid of it fast. And he's not playing any games. I think that was the first time I ever seen Duda snap on Nuck. Usually Nuck is pretty like in line, like Duda says later in the episode, he's loyal, but he's just, he doesn't think he's like ready for his position or his spot. But like that was the first time I ever seen him snap on Nuck, and I was just like, Nuck, sweetie, you may be it this season too. For real, for real. I don't know how many times you're gonna either get yelled at before he either does something or you do something. So, and of course, Nuck calls over Bakari and tells Bakari to get rid of it. So this kind of reminds me of, I think this was the previous episode where basically Jamal was talking to Lene, and like, Jamal, he's a street dude, so he knows the ins and outs of the business and what everything Duda, his, operation, what it entails, titles, all that good stuff. Like, he knows, and, with him explaining to Lene, like, okay, you say Bakari is just the lookout, but I'm telling you it's going to be more than that. Like, he's going to go from being just a lookout to, him having to take care of a job and do something to, basically, if somebody doesn't listen, he's going to be having to handle that, take care of it, you know. So it just kind of reminds me of like what Nuck is doing now, with Nuck having his position and then pushing it off on Bakari, and then later we'll see Bakari interacting with Rashad, and so it's just like y'all are all doing basically what Jamal had told Lene, that, you know, what happens, and how you get even more deep involved in the game and even more deep involved with Duda and the consequences. So, whew, yeah. So moving forward, we have Fatima, and she's hanging out with her girls, and they're just talking, catching up. I have no clue where they are. It looks like a lobby area, but I was just like, we couldn't go somewhere else, like an actual brunch spot, but okay. And so she's just catching up, letting them know, like, hey, you know, I'm moving in with Victor, this and that. And everybody in that friend group has different opinions on what Fatima should do. And Fatima herself is just like, I want to do this. I, you know, want to be independent. You know, I don't mind moving in with Victor, but I don't want him to, like, sponsor my whole lifestyle and do all this stuff and cater to me. Like, she likes how things are going. Her friends have two separate opinions on that, and one of them is more like, you need to use Victor, get everything you can out of him. I think he's either governor or mayor, but, like, you know, basically, girl, break the bank, get all the money, you know, that you need to fund, you know, your interior designs, whatever, furnishing the house, whatever you need, like, do it. Go for it. Break them pockets. And the other friend is just like, no, don't listen to her. Like, it's, do what you want to do, you know. And then they were asking her, like, I think how she felt about Victor, and she was a little hesitant. Like, she didn't answer right away, so they were just like, So that said everything that they needed to know. And Fatima's just like, oh my gosh, it's not that serious. So, yeah. And then we have Dre. She's at the center and at the Rock, and you know, she's just, I think, finishing up with the client, and she looks over through the glass and she sees someone saging, and it looks like somebody she knows, because she goes over and knocks on their door, and lo and behold, it is her ex-fiance Monica. And Monica's like, hold up. And Dre's like, hold up now. And, you know, basically like, what are you doing here? And, you know, Tracy unfortunately did not let Dre know, like, hey, your ex-fiance Monica's going to be here. They just both assumed that it was going to be okay. And Dre was like, I guess, you know, too late now. I'm not going to tell you to leave because, you know, it's a little uncomfortable, a little awkward. But, you know, she ends up, you know, staying, of course. And eventually, later in the episode, she offers to go get coffee with Dre, and Dre's like, yeah, no, I moved on, I am married now, and I have grandkids now, and I'm not messing that up. And Monica's like, oh, okay, you know, she's showing her the pictures, and Monica's like, oh, I didn't expect for, you know, her to be your type, and just different things. And they kind of throw little shots here and there of like, oh, I didn't think he was going to get married, you know, because Dre was saying that to Monica, and, you know, basically it's like, things change, people change, feelings change too, kind of thing. And Dre was just like, well, I'm happy, you know, and no, we can't do coffee, I'll see you around. I think that there's going to be some trouble here. I hope that Dre does not do what Nina did with the bread in previous seasons when she, you know, cheated on Dre. I'm hoping Dre can remain strong and not, you know, have a Nina moment. But yeah, I feel like there's some, you know, unspoken, or they haven't really had that conversation, unresolved feeling, not feelings necessarily, but like unresolved tension a little bit, like things that just need to be said and just clear the air of like what really happened. Because I'm curious, I'm not gonna lie, you know, even though we're in the season and we're kind of introducing some new characters left and right, it does still make me a little curious, like, well, what really happened with you guys, like, what's going on? All right, so we have, moving on, Victor, and he is in his office, which is super nice because they have his name on the door, and he's just like, it's a good feeling for Victor, which I'm really happy for him because he's come a long way, aka Trig, because he has that good aim and trigger finger, if we recall when his character was introduced in that little moment with Doodah. in that warehouse. Hmm. Yeah, Trig is very accurate. So, but yeah, anyways, we have, Trig in his office, Victor, and, he's all happy, just, standing there admiring everything. And in walks Rosalind. And basically, Rosalind is just like, all right, sit down. Closes the door and lets him know to keep his mouth shut. He didn't see nothing, hear nothing, doesn't know anything, play it that way, okay? Because Quentin, aka Q, was a federal informant, and if you want to, stay out of it, which he's pretty much in it, very deep in it, like Rosalind reminded him, you're an accomplice, okay? So your best bet is to zip it, flip it, and lock it, okay? Keep your mouth shut, don't say nothing, you don't know nothing, and we're clear. And I'm like, well, dang. I don't know if I should be more scared of dude. I'm more scared of Rosalind, all right? Because Rosalind does not play either. So, of course, Victor agrees, and that was that. So next we have the kids, as I call them, and they are having a game night, which is so amazing to see because they've had so much, like, I'd be forgetting sometimes that they're kids because they have truly been through so much, and it's just like, dang. Like, do y'all have fun? Do y'all get to enjoy, a little bit? Y'all have had so many ups and downs within the group, within relationships, with each other. The three main friends, Kevin, Jake, and Papa, like, y'all have had so much within y'all, relationship. And then we've added Bakari, Lene, Gemma, Kenya, kind of. We'll tap into that a little bit, and Myasia. And, it's just been so much. And so, they're having a good time. It's boys versus girls, and the girls are losing. And, it's a little touchy here because Myasia basically blames Kenya, like, you didn't do anything this whole game. Like, we only have 6 points because of you, and Kenya's just looking like, well, I didn't understand, how the game works. I don't understand the questions. And so everybody's just like, whatever. And then, Lene's a little bit upset, and somebody was just like, you guys are cheating. And of course, Kevin, oh gosh, I love him because his intrusive thoughts really are always winning. Like, he was just like, I never cheat on you. And everybody was like, what? Like, I laughed because Lene was like, what is he talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? And, everybody was just looking at him like, but I think it's because everybody's high at the same time, except for Kenya and Papa, trying to turn a new leaf there or act a little brand new in front of his girl, who's not his girl. He should never say that. Papa did slip up and call Kenya his girl, and Kenya was like, I'm not your girl. And I'm like, dang it, Papa, dang it. Like, every episode with you, we're either in there, out there, and in. Like, now you're just back out. Like, we was in there when you stood up for her, and she was like, you want to go bowling towards that end of that episode. Towards the end of that scene, you messed it up because you were just like, I gotta ask my mom, and I got curfew, and she just looked like she was turned off. Then you guys went bowling, you got a kiss, you invited her to game night. Everything was going okay, but then you started talking about y'all have responsibilities, and she's just looking at you like, why are you acting like that? Like, why are you being different? Like, oh my gosh. But obviously she can tell, like, he's not being himself, especially because I think Kevin offered him, like, weed, and he was like, no, I don't do that, or I'm not doing that tonight. And Jake was like, what, you doing that because she here? And it was just like, oh, lordy. And so Kenya, you can tell she's just observing, like, it's a turn off again, because it was like, you were doing good for a minute, now I'm turned off. Like, ick. Like, yeah. I'm still laughing about Kevin and Myasia because I'm like, Kevin, you're supposed to be low-key just chilling, and Myasia was just looking like, dang, here we go. Like, Kevin did almost outed us. We supposed to be exclusive. And of course, later in the episode, we have Gemma and Jake together. And Gemma, again, keeps bringing it up. And I don't know why, but she's just like, did you peep anything between Myasia and Kevin? And I think everybody's starting to realize, like, y'all have a little something going on. but that's neither here nor there. We'll just either let y'all tell it or we'll figure it out eventually. And so, yeah. And I just thought that was funny. Kenya looks like she's very much out of place. Like, that's just not her crowd. She definitely didn't want to go home smelling like weed, so she offered to open up the window. Everybody was like, it's cold. I laughed when Jake was like, you tripping? And she was just like, I don't want to go home smelling like weed. She looked like she's very much ready to go, and I would like to see if she would invite Papa into her friend group or around her friends to see how she acts around her friends and just to see like the difference. I don't know if we'll get that this season or at all, but it would be nice to see because as she's been able to see how Papa is around his friends, but not really because he's putting on a front like he's not like that really. Of course, I'm laughing at Bakari because he sees Jake's sweatshirt and he's just like and Jake was like 55 and he's like 35 and no 20 and Gemma was like 35 and he was like fine, bet, I got you. And I was like, all right, Jake, handling business. Of course, my Asia jumps in and they've been having a lot of back and forth. We're just building and building and building and building without saying. It's like they're saying a lot without saying a lot, and so even though they're high, they're still like jabbing jabs here and there. My Asia just basically being like, you're always working. And, Gemma was like, I can work whether high or not. I'm focused. And so my Asia's basically like, what's that supposed to mean? You can see Jake kind of looking like, what's going on here? He peeps it as well. And so, she's just like, we're good. It's fine, we're just chilling. And I'm like, everybody kept saying we're just chilling, but everybody throwing jabs. So I'm just like, okay, we're just chilling, but we throwing jabs and we letting it be known, like, what's up? Because earlier in the episode, we do have Myasia in the studio, which Gemma, and thanks to her dad, is paying for studio time, and Myasia's just not quite there yet. She just hasn't really found her footing, and Gemma's like, I'm running out of money and time, and, we need to figure out something fast. You need to really put in that work. You need to find your sound, okay? Because Gemma did have a conversation, which I didn't like how she was talking to her dad. I was like, I'd be daggone, like my mother used to say back in the day, my lips would have been sitting on the wall somewhere, because, I was a little mouthy back in the day, but I'd be daggone, like, I stay in a child's place because Gemma talked to her daddy like, she runs him basically, he's basically like, if you don't figure this out because you're running out of money and I'm basically financing it, you're going to college. Basically, by the time you graduate, you need to have some shake, okay? Something needs to be going, all right? If not, you're going to college. And she's just like, no, like, that's a waste. It's a scam. And he was just like, I'd rather have my daughter in college, spend my money that way than you just be out here doing music or managing somebody and you're not getting anywhere. And of course, Gemma's smart aleck mouth was just like, oh, so you can not help me or you can fund Tiara though. And I'm just like, dang, I feel like Gemma, you and Tiara are just one and the same. She's just a grown woman, an adult version of you basically. So I'm just like, the back and forth. It's always Gemma and her little attitude, just like Keisha with her attitudes and stuff. But yeah, so I do laugh because Keisha, she was at home watching, I think, Little Ronnie and EJ. We don't see Emmett's other kids. We have not seen them since maybe season 1 or 2, roughly. So, or a little bit of season 3 too. But I'm just like, it's just them two, and somebody knocks over a vase, Keisha curses, and, in walks Emmett, and she's just like, Emmett, we need a nanny, a maid, she's basically doing it all by herself, and she's frustrated, and Emmett's just like, no, like, what the heck, it's not the Fresh Prince of Chicago, like, this, we're not living in Bel Air, we're not doing that, we don't got, what he's basically trying to explain to her is that all these things that you're asking for cost money, and I think he's starting to realize he is really too far in with Duda, and he tells her basically like the stuff that costs money comes with a lot, and she's just not realizing that, understanding that. And then of course fast forward a little bit. We get into Pastor Stanley. And back, what comes around, it just keep going back around, and it is that bag of money. So here, Pastor Stanley opens up his office door, and who's waiting so patiently for him with money just spread all out on the desk is Nuck. And Nuck, if you buck, does not stop. He won't stop. And I'm like, little Martin shaking hand. Yeah, like, I felt like, this might be it for Pastor Stanley. I'd be laughing because I'd be reading the comments about people saying, like, dang it, I hope Pastor Stanley does not go on to glory, because that would just make me so sad, you know, because he really has been saying no to Duda, and like I said earlier, Duda just is not like that at all. So Nuck is just like, here is Duda's tithe and offering, and Pastor Stanley's just basically like, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, every time to rise up against thee in judgment that shall, you know, like, return to sender. And Nuck's just laughing like, yeah. He pulls out his gun. He pulls out that fire, and I'm just like, we were this close. I just wish he would have never did that deal a long time ago. But so yeah, I'm sad. I just hope, you know, episode 5 is not the it for Pastor Stanley. I'm hoping, but we can only hope but so much. And, yeah, so we are obviously at the church still, and Emmett's walking down the hall. He has the boys, and he runs into Darnell, and they go into the group meeting. And basically Darnell is just like, what are you doing? And Emmett's just like, what? And he's like, you're not grown. I don't know what you think you're doing, but you're not doing anything, pretty much. And then it's like, what are you talking about? And he's just basically like, I took that fire, that gift from Duda. You remember that? I took that. And so Emmett goes off because he's just like, I've been looking everywhere for that, you know. And basically, Darnell is like, yeah, that's why I took it, because you put it in a place where your kids could get to it. Anybody could have gotten to that. And so Emmett is really pissed. But he has to start this, you know, group session with his dad and the other men, Jamal, Victor, Rashad, Marcus, of course, Darnell and Emmett, and Quincy, who is Victor's, like, right-hand man. So, basically, or campaign manager. Basically, they're opening up. They're having, you know, basically a mental health powwow discussion session, and you know, they're just letting it all out, things that they've been going through. Ironically, Rashad starts talking about Tiara, but doesn't name Tiara. Marcus starts talking about Tiara and Gemma, but he doesn't name Tiara. As he's talking about, Jamal starts talking about Lene and just being that example and hoping that she's not disappointed in him. Victor starts talking about being, you know, mayor and how much of pressure that is, and just holding himself and really, you know, following through on the standard. And then we have Darnell just talking about, you know, just different things that he's going through. And, you know, Emmett just talking about not having Darnell around. And I was like, ooh, we're going there, but we needed to go there. And, you know, how everybody wants him to be Superman. And it's just nice to see, like, men, especially black men, open up to each other and feel comfortable, and not just like, you know, that stigma that counseling or just therapy is bad or wrong, or you're a simp or whatever for, you know, expressing yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's okay to let it out and not just hold it all in. And so I thought that was amazing. I still do feel for Rashad, because Rashad's still trying to find his way. Because he mentions to them, like, you guys are saying stuff like your lives are horrible and this is bad and stuff, but you guys are doing just fine. Like, I would rather be in your shoes than my shoes right now. And one thing I really wish that they would have invited Bakari into the group, because Bakari really does need guidance, and it's a lot of older men, even though I think Emmett's just a little bit older than them, but that could take him in. And granted, Jamal is there, and he's Lene's brother. I mean, yeah, and Bakari is dating Lene and they haven't really been introduced to each other yet. I think that will be finally coming soon in episode 5, but it would be nice for Bakari to be taken in because he really needs guidance, not Duda's guidance. Pastor Stanley's trying, but Pastor Stanley got sucked back into Duda unwillingly, and so I think it would just be nice if they could add Bakari to the group because he needs that, older men that are in the same boat almost, but still trying to make it and hold each other accountable, which is super important. And like Victor said, what happens in the group stays in the group. So, I hope that these sessions will have everybody in the group and nobody will be missing from the group, because who knows what's going to happen the rest of the season. I think we get 16 episodes this season. We're only on episode 4, going to episode 5, and I'm just like, I just hope that we see everybody in the group, because I would just be so sad, and I might cry if there's just an empty chair by the time the season is over within the group, because it's like, dang it, like, who's not going to make it out? Who's going to, like, that would suck, So, of course, speaking of the group, we have a dinner later in the evening, and it is with Darnell, Jada, Rashad, and Deja. Sorry to think of their names. And then in walks Marcus and Tiara, who, of course, Rashad knows he was talking about Tiara within the group at the Rock, and so he's just kind of taken back. I can sense also that Deja is not very fond of Tiara. I'm not sure, and I need to go back and watch, but I'm not sure if they met in previous seasons, but she's just kind of like giving her the stink look and a couple of jabs like, what do you do? Darnell's calling Tiara a princess. She just looks like a princess. She's always all dolled up, and Rashad is just like how the heck did this happen? Similar to everybody else, was like, when did Marcus and Tiara get together? Like, when did this happen? How did this happen? I missed my opportunity, and so that kind of is just like a big letdown. Of course, they have a few jokes over the course of, the evening, but, you can see Rashad is really hurt about it because even though he's moved on with Deja, he was still, in previous episodes looking at Tiara's Instagram page, her social media, and, seeing her again after that last time I think that they slept together, and I think they had a conversation that it was supposed to be nothing. It just kind of like was a letdown for him, and it's something he just didn't see coming, but he's still cool with Marcus, and obviously he's cool with Darnell. So we'll see if he'll actually tell Deja that he slept with Tiara, or if Tiara will tell Marcus, or if anybody will just open up about anything at this point. So, of course, with Rashad being let down, we see him walking in with Bakari to one of Judah's bars, or the hangout, or lounge, whatever. And before they even walk in, Bianca and Judah are just scoping out the room. They're looking at Zay, they're looking at Nuck, they're just trying to figure out, okay, which one of these young men are going to take your spot, because Judah's basically like, I'm not going to be here for long, we both know that, so I need to find a replacement. And so Bianca's really fond of Zay, and Judah's like, nope, he's too wet behind the ears, even though Zay in his head thinks he's Judah. Like I always say, mini-me Duda, because he be trying to say all his things, and he just moves too careless for me. Like, he's Duda in print, and he's not. And so then we have Nuck, who's just scrolling through his phone, probably social media, and, Duda's like, Bianca's like, I know you like Nuck, and she's like, Duda's like, yeah, I do. Nuck is pretty loyal, but he's not that rough. Like, I don't look at him as really being that person. Now, to me, because you've checked off Nuck, you've checked off Zay, only people you have left are Bakari and Emmett. So I don't see Emmett being that replacement. I see, because at one point it was Jake, and he thought Jake was going to run the 63rd mob, and Jake's way out of the picture. Jake was like, nope, Victor came in, figured that out. That's a done deal. And it seems like he wants somebody young as well. And so now I feel like we're really zoned in and locked in on Bakari, because in walks Bakari, like I said, and Rashad, and they're coming over. And Zay brings over the bag full of guns and stuff, and Rashad is just like, whoa, like, hold up. This is too much. I don't want it. Take it back. I'm out. Have a good night. I thought I was just coming here to smoke, but I see y'all on some other stuff, and I'm trying to stay out of trouble. Like, you don't have to tell me twice. And so he leaves, and, Duda is just like, like, he really wants Rashad to just really reel him in, slip up, and all that. And basically, Bakari, and I'm like, dang it, everything Jamal said to Lene is so true. Basically, Bakari's like, I got it. I'm like, dang, Bakari, could you let him ask you first, or you just want to be that person? And I'm like, what happened to trying to get off Papa's couch and do right? You're just willingly putting yourself in these situations, willingly saying yes. He didn't even come to you and ask you. You were just like, I got it. I'm gonna handle it. And I'm just like, Bakari, think you're gone too, right up there with Nuck and whoever else we said, whoever else I assume is gonna be gone. Or you're just gonna really find yourself in a world of trouble, and it's just not gonna pan out that good for you. And so I'm really nervous about that, because Bakari, I'm like, I got it. Yep. I'm like, Nuck told you to get rid of it. Now, dude, I was looking at you, and I know if he snapped on Nuck, I'm sure you're going to slip up, and he's going to snap on you or worse. Because I have seen the preview for episode 5, and it looks like Bakari's getting pulled over, and I'm like, didn't Duda already tell Nuck he doesn't need that pressure? So we shall see in episode 5 what the heck's going to happen, but I'm a little nervous for Bakari, because I'm like, you're adding added trouble, and he does not need that right now, and who knows what the heck can happen to you, because who knows? And so, of course, moving forward, we have Victor. He's in his office, again, just chilling. I think everybody just thinks Victor's office is the hangout spot, and so, of course, actually, he's not in his office. I lied, excuse me. Let me double back. Victor's not in his office. Tiff and Rob are in his office with Cairo, and so Victor walks in, and he's just like, hey, guys, like, what's up? And they're like, hey, we need a permit. Because early in the episode, Keisha was telling Tiff that, if you guys are going to sell weed and start your own business, because they were touring Cairo's, basically his storage area where he keeps the weed and worms and soil and a certain kind of water, the temperature, nice suits and stuff for them to wear, and just different things like that. And he was just explaining to them, like, you're going to need more money, and you're going to need another storage place for the weed and just different things. And so Tip's just like, you didn't mention that. Like, we already asked for money, now we need more money. Like, come on. Like, she's just trying to get from under Duda. Same thing she told Tip, same thing she told Rob. And, basically they're in there talking to Victor, and Victor is just like, I don't know. Like, people are not going to be fond of that. And Tip's like, well, we're giving them jobs. Like, we're creating jobs. So next, what do you got? And basically Victor's like, it's not really top priority right now. Like, I have other things I need to focus on within being in office. And so basically, Victor's like 6 months. And Tiff was like, F that, I'm out. Like, she just gets up, storm off in usual Tiff fashion. And she and Cairo go to the car. Victor is just like, hold up. I'm not Victor. Rob is just like, hold up. I need to talk to you, Victor. So back it up, sit down, give me a sec. And Quincy is just like, we don't got time for that. I'm like, dang, Quincy. And I forgot to mention, Quincy was also in the group therapy session. And I'm still on the edge about Quincy. I don't know if he's good or if he's just like a little filler person. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure him out if he's good or bad. And so Quincy, like I said, he was in the office because he goes everywhere Victor goes. And he was just like, we're not doing that right now. And Victor was like, it's not about not Victor. Rob was like, it's not about the permit. I just need to talk to him. Like, bye. You're dismissed. And I was like, sorry. I was just looking like, all right, Rob. We're not gonna try you. I'm scared of you. But basically, Quincy leaves and gives Victor and Rob that moment, and Rob is like, all right, tell me about my Uncle Q. What happened? And of course, with the warnings from Duda and Rosalind, Victor is basically like, I don't know. A lot of people were after him. Whoever did it, it wasn't probably too good, and I don't know. And Rob was just not believing it. He's like, you sure? You sure about that? And Victor's like, Mm-hmm. Yep. I wish I knew more. I'm like, dang it, Victor. Like, do you want Rob after you or Duda? I mean, I don't know. I feel like Duda and Rosalind would be worse, but granted, it's always the ones you underestimate. You never know if Rob is really about it. He seems super calm, cool, calm, collected, and so, reserved. And who knows if Rob is really, really about it, especially because, we haven't seen Lynn Whitfield in a minute since I think episode 1, but she did task him, his mom Alicia, she did task him with doing more than just finding his Uncle Q's killer, and so maybe he really is about it. So I'm like, Victor. So yeah, of course, after that whole conversation, you see Tiff in the car with Cairo, and Cairo's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? You do need a permit. If you don't get a permit, it's going to look really bad for you, and that's just the least of your worries." And what about Rob? Like, you should discuss it. And Tiff is just like, "No, no, no, we're doing it. My man does whatever I say, and we're like one and the same." And I'm just like, Tiff, not really, because I think Rob is a little bit more logical thinker than you are, and you kind of act off of emotion majority of the time, and then you go back and think about it, and you realize like, okay, I acted too too soon. So consequences, consequences, consequences. So we'll see as the course of the season goes on what happens. Of course, we end this episode being in the church. Amen. And, Pastor Stanley is up there preaching a good word. We see Tracy, who we haven't seen last episode. She's in, the sanctuary and the pulpit. And, basically she is, in the pew just sitting. And we see Papa and in walks Bakari a little bit late, as usual. And, of course, in the back, we see Duda and Nuck just sitting and just watching him, and then we have Emmett and Keisha and baby Ronnie. And of course, Pastor Stanley's talking about the devil and evil and, a lion just coming in and snatching and just taking, and we need to get him up out of here. And, so everybody was throwing shots this episode. So, pow, 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 whether it's in your face or subliminals, and basically, Duda's just looking like, And Tracy looking around like, if you let the lion or the devil or whatever come and sleep up in your bed and, creep in. And Tracy's looking around like, like, I got you. Don't gotta tell me I'm not gonna do it no more. Of course we know it's Duda. And so Duda is just looking like, okay. You want to take it there? I take it there. I know you talking about me, or if the shoe fits. And he gets up and he leaves. And before he leaves, he tells Nuck, take care of it. And Nuck looks with his little beret. uh, Nuck's outfit just makes me laugh. But he looks with his little beret on, and he's just sitting there like, say less. I'm like, fudge! I'm so mad. I'm like so mad. I'm super nervous. I'm just like, Pastor Stanley, it's been real. And the good word has just been real too. At the same time, honestly, with that, if they fool me or fool any of us, and with trailer, manipulation, and everybody thinking like, all right, well, it's gonna be Pastor Stanley. It's definitely Pastor Stanley, because I don't know if everybody remembers, or in the trailer, the official trailer, we see everybody dressed in white, and they have like little candles and stuff, and they're at Papa's house, and Papa does walk up, and I think Bakari is right there, so it was like, all right, but it's not Bakari. And then we see the kids, Jake, Gemma. I don't see Jake actually, but we see Gemma, and everybody is all standing on the stoop, and Victor, and I'm just like, please. Do not play with my emotions and make it be Papa Stanley, because that is just gonna hurt. I'm just, or Pastor Stanley's wife. I don't know. It just makes me sad, because over the seasons, I did kind of start liking Pastor Stanley, especially because Papa used to always talk so highly of him. And I hope it's not Pastor Stanley, because it's just like him and Papa have just like so much feelings, I guess, towards each other, especially after the episode when everybody was sitting at the table and Pastor Stanley was just like calling Bakari's son. I feel like there's just so much feelings there, and it's just like, dang, like, I hope they have at least an opportunity to resolve that, not just like, okay, we talked about it at the table, because I still feel like Papa felt some type of way. So, after that, Say Less, Knock walks out, and that's that. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I'm hopeful a little bit this much for Pastor Stanley. But I'm super excited about this episode 5. I know for sure I've read the description of what's to come. I think Jamal and Bakari finally meet. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting. So I think this episode's going to be exciting. It does look like in the trailer that they're going to go to prom. The kids are, and so I'm really excited about that. Excited to see what's going to happen. Bakari looks like he gets pulled over. Nervous about that because in the vehicle, I know that Duda does chop shop vehicles, so I'm just hoping like there's no guns or nothing in the car, nothing. I'm sure Lene will probably be with them, who knows, but I'm just interested to see what happens, and fingers crossed. We just wanted to say, chuck it up to God. Just say a prayer for Pastor Stanley that he makes it the whole season, or just makes it at least this next episode. I'm just so nervous for him. But yeah, so again, I just want to say I appreciate everybody that is viewing my videos. If you just would kindly please do me such a big favor, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will be out of town this weekend, but I will definitely try to not get this video out next Tuesday, even though it's, Labor Day coming up, whatever. I'm going to try to get this video out either Friday, Saturday, or most likely Sunday, just depending on how everything goes. So yeah, but again, I just want to thank everybody for watching my channel, my videos, and I will definitely have more content, just different things coming up soon. Still, again, as I say every video, just trying to get the hang of it, but I do appreciate each and every one of you. I do hope you're having a phenomenal week. I hope everything is going great, and if it's not, keep going, keep trucking, it will get better. So what in the world? Sorry. My hair is doing some weird stuff on the side. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and